Thanksgiving begins a very special time of the year for us. It's the time of peace and reflection, and of getting ready for the new year. One thing we should all be thankful for is that we live in America, where we have the freedom to change things and the opportunity to...
Welcome to the Drunk Turkey Show.
Dude, who fucking these how is? What the...
Starring Big Blue.
Okay, can I say hi, Kim?
Hi. Oh, I love you. You are just like a giant.
Lady Liberty just squirted in my face. And when you do drink with a straw, the myth is you get more drunk because you get more air mixed in.
Hi, Maggie.
Like, you know how the fans going like this? It goes, ooh,
Yeah.
when it hits my butthole. Last time I went to Mexico, I stopped by a little stand and the lady had gloves. I was like, lady, take off those gloves. I need that shit. It pierces, you can feel good and like it tastes good. What the hell's the point of this?
And Daniel J.
I got a friend named Jonathan Martinez who's not allowed in the library. Giants being spotted in the Mexican mountains. I didn't get to check out sometime. I think that was Jaime walking up there in the mountains. He's about six.
It's like the Steelers. You can love them, but you
better watch.
Take it easy. Take it easy.
I'm 3
Get him
beers
off.
in, mother trucker.
Get him off the fucking stream, please.
I'm fucking 3 beers in, bro. You don't want to fuck with me right
Shit, you ruin our friendship like this,
Greetings
man.
from the year 3000. It still sucks. This is Phil J. Fry, and you're listening to the Drunken Turkey Show. Your one stop for this sort of thing. Hit that button, like and subscribe. You know what to do, just like every other podcast.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Drunk Turkey Show. I'm your host, Daniel J. Alongside with me, as always, Big Blue and Jaime. Jaime and Big Blue, or Jaime first. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good, man. Just here at work, you know.
Just chilling at work.
Yeah.
Good to see that they're got to put in that overtime. Big Blue,
for sure.
it looks like you're also at work. How are you doing?
Yeah. You know, just making sure the crazies don't get out of hand here in San Antonio.
Oh man, y'all are crazy. I'm doing well. So today we're gonna be talking about Bryan Kohberger. We're gonna be talking about the Idaho 4 case. We're gonna be talking about this manifesto that's out that a lot of folks have been trying. You know, they've been pointing dots or arrows to the book that potentially was what was recovered in the search of Bryan Kohberger's parents' Pennsylvania home. We'll be talking about those. We're going to be talking about Pappa Rodgers and the connection there. There seems to be or everybody seems to think that there's a possible connection. We'll go through it piece by piece, talk about it, and then we'll take your phone calls. How does that sound to you guys?
Sounds good.
Yes, sir.
All right, awesome. So first thing and foremost, where do you guys want to start? Do you guys want to start on the book, or do you want to start on Pappa Rodgers? What do you think, Big Blue? Where should we start first?
Pappa Rodgers, because the book part, I don't know too much about that book part.
Well, you know what? First, I guess we can talk about. I probably should just start off with this. Was the connection, right? So you have Pappa Rodgers, who a lot of folks had thought was Bryan Kohberger, right? And then you have Elliot Rodgers, who was responsible for the 2014 Isla Vista murders that occurred several years ago out there in California. And he is the guy that is known as being an incel. I guess that's when the term started. He had a manifesto that he typed up and put out there about why he was committing the crime that he was committing. And we'll go through all that in a little bit. But his last name was Rodger. And so you have those connections. And then there's also, spelled differently, but here around where Bryan Kohberger was seen prior to the incident on November 13th, he was driving around this area, is Rogers Orton Playfield. So a lot of folks, how's it going? Thank you for joining in. That's our first time I've seen someone from Brazil in here. Thank you. And so there's been a lot of connections there. Like, all right, you have Bryan Kohberger. He was Pappa Rodgers. Pappa Rodgers is an alias because of Elliot Rodgers, who's known as the king of incels, right? So let's start off with the Pappa Rodgers aspect of it, right? So a lot of Pappa Rodgers became famous or well known or speculated to have been Bryan Kohberger. Oh, nice, Alaska. When the knife sheath was discovered to have been a piece of evidence, right? And the reason being, and I'll pull up the images real quick, is he was from a he's from a Facebook discussion group where he was talking about the evidence and talking about the crime scene, and he talked about the potential that the killer may have left the knife sheath behind prior to the knife sheath being known to the public, right? So this is who Pappa Rodgers is. I have a picture of it. I'll show a better picture of him. But this is on the University of Idaho murders Facebook discussion page. It says, on the evidence released, the murder weapon has been consistent as a large fixed blade knife. This leads me to believe they found the sheath. This was evidence released prior to autopsies. And so November 30th, prior to Kohberger's arrest, which is when we learned about the sheath, he came out with that information, right? Do you find that, first and foremost, to stop right there, Big Blue, do you find that suspicious that he knew about that information in that manner?
Yeah, because I don't think it hadn't been released to the public yet. So he had to have inside information.
Okay, what about you, Jaime? Do you think that that was suspicious that he knew about that ahead of time?
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, like you said, if he didn't have an insider with with intel inside the department, then I don't know how he would have known.
Right. Now, just to play devil's advocate, what he is saying is that they've, early on in the investigation, it was rumored that they were looking for a K-bar knife.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if they didn't find the knife, what would make them think of that specific knife? So I'm assuming that it would either have to be a distinct pattern in the wounds.
Mm-hmm.
But even at that, would that tell you the specific kind or just a type of knife, right?
Yeah, like a general idea.
Right. Now, if they were looking for a K-bar, that would mean that maybe something fell off. Then I'm assuming, maybe this is why he's thinking it's the knife sheath.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting. It could be something, but it also could be somebody who's hyper focused and he can read the small details and exploit them. So this guy also goes forward to say, Pappa Rodger goes, they don't clean bodies at crime scene. The amount of blood must have been tremendous. So here he goes, right here he goes. The police were very specific about the type of knife used. Scott Jute reportedly told them his shop doesn't sell the oh man, it's cut off, so I don't know what else he says there. But he kind of alludes that, kind of what I'm saying. They were very specific about the knife. How would you know it was that knife if the knife wasn't there, if it wasn't a knife sheath? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, and that's kind of why he's thinking they left the knife sheath. They're very specific about the weapon. You wouldn't be able to tell that at the crime scene. Hold on, let's see what he's referring to. A fixed blade means that it's not a folding knife. The way I'm guessing is they could tell was by the impressions of the bruising around the stab wounds that showed the outline of a guard on the knife. That's also a very plausible explanation as to why it could have been that style.
Yeah.
Not that specific one. You get what I'm saying?
When the police released that, did they say they were looking for a K-bar style, or did they actually just say K-bar?
I believe they said initially rumors were K-bar knife. I remember it may have been style, but K-bar was specifically said early on in this investigation by news media. And so this is who Pappa Rodgers, or the image that they use. It's of a soldier titled, this is a graphic designer, a online painter by the name of, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. It's YIXU, right?
You.
Now, my thing. Oh, go ahead, Blue.
So we got people from all over the place today, man.
Thank you guys very much.
Canada,
very much.
Wisconsin,
New
Jersey, Brazil. We have people from the UK. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Thank you guys. We appreciate it. And so a lot of folks, point in and they'll talk about the things that he was accurate, right? What about the things that he wasn't accurate on? So these are a few things. Here is on the discussion board, it says Google Trends search history for the house date, lots of Thursday activity. He puts on here that the killer is not a student. Maybe not a student at the University of Idaho, but was a student at WSU.
Yeah.
The white car is a red herring, meaning it's not really relevant. It's a distraction.
Yeah.
That ended up not being true.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, maybe that post was a red herring itself.
It could have
That's
been.
true. That's true. It definitely could have. The one thing, though, and maybe I should have led off with this. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Where are you at? Where are you at? There it is. This post was put up, and I actually had seen the post. This is after Bryan Kohberger was arrested, and people were starting to hound Pappa Rodger. He says, "I'm angry that I can't even have a break without people talking smack about me. My fishing trip was good. Caught a 32 pounds trout, which it would be the Guinness World Record for a huge trout. Yeah, which is a personal best. It would be a world record, bro. Leave me alone, please. I'm safe and well, just needing some time. It's out very stressful the past day or two. Thanks." Now, this is a screenshot that I had to go and find, but I am a part of that Idaho discussion group, and I saw when this post came out.
Because we actually talked about it before. Remember, we talked about how in Texas the trout don't get that big.
Yeah.
So we were wondering where he was from.
Right. Exactly. And so, I don't think that there's a connection there. I could be wrong. This guy could be that stupid and naive, but you would assume with his education that he would not put himself into crime in that manner. But he made a lot of dumb mistakes, so it's very quite possible.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think he's Pappa Rodgers. What do you guys think? Let's start off with you, Jaime.
I don't think so neither. I don't think so neither, man. Honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what Blue thinks.
Yeah, what about you, Blue?
I mean, some of the stuff that he was putting out there in the beginning, it made it sound like him, but he could also have been somebody close to the case, like maybe knew some of the police officers on duty, and they gave him some information,
Yeah.
So
yeah, and as far as when that was posted, I want to say it was about a week, maybe even a little bit, maybe 8 days after Kohberger's arrest. It was sometime after, because he had kind of vanished, and then that popped up, and then probably about 2-3 hours later, it disappeared. His profile disappeared. What's up?
That was through Facebook, right?
Yeah, that was through Facebook.
Okay. Yeah, because I know, like, on Twitter you can set scheduled tweets, right?
Maybe I'm not that familiar with Twitter. Big Blue, you're the Twitter guy. Is that true?
I don't know. I can do it on my phone, so I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think you can schedule when a tweet you want the tweet to come out. So I was like, oh, maybe it was on Twitter. If it was Twitter, you could have easily just schedule it for that certain day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you're saying it's Facebook, right?
Yeah, but even if he were to schedule it, right? Let's just say that was the case. Even if he could schedule it on Facebook, he would have to have beforehand knowledge that he was going to get arrested.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And be like, all right, I'm gonna put this out in case I get arrested, so I throw people off. Now, I don't think so, and I don't think that once how can I say it? Once you hit the fan and SWAT team came into that house, I don't think he had the opportunity to be like, all right, let me put this tweet out real quick or Facebook post. So no, I don't think so. But I don't think it's him. But some folks are trying to tie in. All right, if he was Pappa Rodgers, there's a book out there, or there's a Elliot Rodgers, which we'll touch on briefly real quick.
But wasn't he also wrong about the sheath itself? He said it was the clip-on, and that one, the one that the K-bar have, is like a belt one, isn't it? It has a belt loop.
I believe so. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you're correct on that. And so this is Elliot Rodger. And I'll kind of briefly talk about this. So
I see his videos, man. He had issues.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Just kind of summarize this. Elliot Rodger stabbed 3 men in his apartment till they passed away, one by one after they had arrived. 3 hours later, he drove to a sorority house, and after failing to get inside, he shot three women outside, 2 of them that passed. Next, he drove by a deli, and then he shot and killed another male inside. Then he began to drive through Isla Vista, shooting and wounding several pedestrians from his car, striking several others with his car as well. He exchanged gunfire with police twice, and he was injured in the hip. After his car crashed into a parked vehicle, he took his own life with a self-inflicted shot. And so, but before driving to the sorority house, he uploaded a video to YouTube titled Elliot Rodger's Retribution, in which he outlined his plan to attack and his motives. He explained that he wanted to punish women for rejecting him and sexually active men because he envied them. He also emailed a lengthy autobiographical manuscript to friends, his therapists, family members. The documents appeared on the internet and became widely known as his manifesto. In it, he described his childhood, family conflicts, frustration over his inability to find a girlfriend, his hatred for women, and his concept for couples, partially interracial couples, and his plans for what he described as retribution. So it's kind of a little brief rundown of who he is and what had occurred. A lot of people are pointing at his manifesto as being one of the books that was taken in or taken up, right?
Yeah.
Because there's some eerily weird things that are in there. It talks about how they don't want to, that he was planning on doing this attack in October, but decided to do it in November because in October, there, for Halloween, there would be like parties and a higher police presence. Well, the night that Kohberger attacked was a higher police presence because that was the night of the Vandals' last football game, and that was also, WSU, the neighboring city, Pullman, where Kohberger was staying at or residing at the time, was having their parents' weekend, and so there was a higher presence of people there, parties, the whole 9 yards. The problem with this, though, is this wasn't a book that was ever published. It was never printed.
Yeah.
It was emailed. It was on computer. So, my opinion, I don't think it's the book. Like, it can be the book.
They took it in because apparently, obviously, it has something to do with the case itself. Some evidence. The book, whatever book that they took. Whatever book it was.
I don't think that book was Elliot Rodger's The Incel Manifesto thing, because that book was not put down on paper. I tried to find it. I looked all over, and what I just read said that it was basically sent out in an email off a PDF format from his computer to people. It wasn't printed. It wasn't published. It's not a book you can go buy at the library or pick up at the university library.
Yeah.
You know, unless he got a PDF form and printed it out loud, one page, and stapled it together.
Do you think it would be on the court document somewhere where, because they never tried him because he killed himself. So that wouldn't be somewhere in court documents either.
Right.
No, the worst part about that case was that there were so many red flags. You know what I mean? They could have stopped it before it happened, but like, you know, kind of a lot of people brushed it off a lot. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when it comes down to the book, it could have been also some other author that wrote a book about him. You know what I mean? And then included some of his manifesto inside the book itself.
Right, but the well, then it would make whatever page is 118 wildly different than what is on page 118 of this manifesto.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is, I'm not disregarding that there's a possibility that book would be on, you know, Kohberger's laptop or on his computer, but it was not the physical book, that because there is no physical book.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
And also, well, he was a spree killer, not a serial killer.
Right, exactly, and well, correct. But the fact that there was no printed book leads me to believe that's not the book that was there, right?
Yeah.
So, what book could it have been? Now, if this book wasn't found in his car, right? Let's see. We have
the only book that I could think of that he would be able to have will be the one that his professor wrote about BTK. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. That's the book that I'm thinking it could be, because it could have some relevance to this case.
Yeah.
Right? And so this is what was taken out of the Hyundai Elantra, and only the Hyundai Elantra said, because, you know, this is where the property was received from. The street address says 2015 Elantra, meaning that this property was taken from the car. Swab, sweat plug bag, 7 quarters, plastic bag with green zipper, 36 dimes, 32 nickels, 8 pennies, gloves, receipts, car insurance card, car registration, hiking boots, comfort inn, room key holder, and stay information. So it's not even the room key, it's just the holder, the little paper holder that you put the key in. The iron shovel, the tire irons, shovel, goggles, floor mats, reflective vest, used water bottles, wrench, door panels, seats, seat cushions, headrest, seat belts, visor, brakes, fiber, gas pedal, phone charger, and a Band-Aid, wrappers, maps, documents, seatbelt boot. Nothing about the book. So the book wasn't there, right? The book was in the house. And it says underline page right here. Book with underlining on page 118. So this is a physical book. It's a physical book. I want to know what's on that 118. It's Confessions. The one that we're talking about, where we've been trying to find pictures of this, is... Wait a minute. I don't know if this is it or not. No, this is Confessions of a Serial Killer. Which one is the one that she wrote?
The Untold Story or something like that.
So. Oh no, it's Confessions. Yeah, it's Confessions of a Serial Killer. The Untold Story of Dennis Rader.
Yeah.
All right, so I might have the 118 page. So this is Confession of a Serial Killer. I'm assuming this. Yeah. So this is 118, and I don't know. It's a call from a payphone on Central and St. Francis came in. The police dispatch after 8:15 a.m. December 9th. The caller said, yes, you'll find a homicide at 843 South Pressing, Nancy Fox. So it's just the 911 tape. or a the payphone call from that morning. So I don't know. I don't know if this is the book or not. It was just speculation as much as that manifesto book. But whether it's this book or another book, I don't think it's the manifesto book. Thank you so much, great and powerful Trixie. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
That sounded like I was talking to a goddess, right? And we have 490 folks in here. We'd appreciate you guys if you would hit that like button.
It's free.
It's free. It's free. And the other thing too, guys, I just wanted to bring up our partnership with Data Seal. If you guys want to protect your personal privacy, your information from getting online, your address, your phone number, your political views, things like that, check out Data Seal. There's a link in the description. You get 5% off going through us on the replay booth, or if you come back to this, it'll be in the comment section. Yeah, man. So I don't know what book it is, but I think it's going to have to do something with crime, with perhaps the BTK serial killer book that you were referencing, that we were thinking of. I don't think it's going to be like a world history. Well, maybe. I don't think it's going to be like a algebra book or something like that, because it really wouldn't have anything to do with the case. The search warrant was pretty adamant that they were looking for things where they were describing the event as one that was well plotted out, planned, as a planned premeditated situation that they were thinking they would find evidence of the planning. And so they wanted books, paper, notebooks, anything that would lead them to believe that would be relative to planning or getting away with a crime that was committed. Which is why they took in the criminal justice books and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so we have a $2 super chat going. So have you looked at any books regarding Ted Bundy?
Not yet.
No, not yet. There's a lot of books that are
There's
out there.
Too many out there. Yeah. I mean, there's documentaries of the yin yang of serial killers,
Yeah.
I mean, and movies too. Like, look back, there's a bunch of movies about them.
Yeah.
But like even like they have series on freaking Netflix.
Yeah. And I understand that what's on page 118 of the Incel handbook or whatever is pretty messed up, and it seems kind of eerily close. You know what I'm saying? But it was never published. So I don't think that was a physical book. That it was never created, that book. It was all online. It was sent through emails. And so I don't think that's the book. I don't think there's a connection there. What do you guys think?
I was going to ask, do you think it would have been over 118 pages long?
The book?
The book, the Incel?
Yeah, that book is over 118 pages. But I wonder what made them open up to that page to see an underlining on page 118. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think they went through every page right there at the scene, or while they're collecting this evidence. That information would come out later under a supplementary report after the forensic team goes through and looks at all the documents that they've recovered, including the books, and goes through the pages and sees if there's something there. As far as what was on page 118, we don't know which book to look into, but we know one book that it's probably not, and it's the Manifesto of Elliot Rodger. Let me see. Oh, wrong one. It was published under RDCOLM. Let's see if I can find that real quick.
I remember he had like the video diary, right? I remember he talked about some parts of his manifesto at the end, but I don't think it went into that big of detail of what he actually wrote. You know what I mean?
Right. I'm not seeing anything with that catnip. The RD column, none at all.
And this is written by J.K. Rowling. I haven't read it.
So what we're going to do for the next 30 minutes or so is we're going to open up the phone lines. Let me see real quick though, first how the
book is called My Twisted World.
So we have 71% say yes to the books, the books that were picked up have relevance to the case. That means 29% of you guys don't think that those books are going to come out to being anything relative. I'm on the fence still. I understand why it was probably all picked up, but because at the end of the day, you rather pick up more and have too much stuff than not pick up enough. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
If you go through my books that I have like 7 books about serial killers. You know what I mean? And I'm not I didn't go to college for criminal history. I mean, criminology?
Criminology. Yeah.
I'm just like, it's like a morbid, what's it called? I'm just interested in like seeing what they think or what they did. It's like morbid curiosity kind of thing. So like if this guy, if Kohberger was interested in serial killers, I'm pretty sure he'd have a bunch of books in his residence or at his parents' residence too.
Yeah.
Trying to study them, read about them. I know I do.
Right. Yeah, no, yeah, for sure, man. I mean, and not to mention just, his study of degree, like you said, you would probably more than likely believe to have found stuff like that. And as far as the manifesto could have been an online PDF, it could have, but if it was an online PDF, it wouldn't have been in the property receipt, as far as evidence put away or collected. I'm sorry. And then I saw it was people are saying, oh, it was PDF. It was PDF. Yeah, it really was. It was just only PDF. And so, thank you, Lucy, for joining the Drunk Turkey Show members. We appreciate you. Let's see. So, yeah, I don't think that it's I don't think it's the same video or the same book. I'm sorry. And so I'm gonna put the phone number into the live chat here in a second. Let me do that real quick. And the way this works, guys, just kind of remember, you'll be able to hear me. You guys won't be able to hear Jaime and Blue. And so what we'll do is we'll let you talk, give us your comment, your question, and then we'll hang up and then we'll discuss, close the phone lines. And then after we're done discussing that question, then we'll reopen it again. Does it make sense? And so let me put the phone number into the live chat. Give me 1 second. And that number is going to be 726-202-4054. Phone lines are open, y'all. Let me make sure I got this on. All righty. Well, anyways, so while we're waiting for somebody to come on, give me a second. Let's see. The WSU Criminal Justice Syllabus is in your text. Yeah. Elliot Rodger killed people on November 13, 2013, same as Bryan Kohberger, November 13, 2022. Yeah, there's a lot of similarities between what Bryan Kohberger did and a lot of other serial killers. Now, Crime Don't Pay says you can read the PDF online you definitely can, of the Elliot Rodger's manifesto. You can find that online. However, it's the printed book that becomes a question, because what was picked up that had something underlined on page 118 was a printed book. And so I don't think it's going to be the Elliot Rodger's book. We have our first call coming in. Let's see who it is. Welcome to the Drunk Turkey Show. You're live on air. Who we're speaking with? Hello? Hello? Yeah, don't hear anybody. Hey, Jaime, do me a favor. Can you call the number? It's just to see if it's working. I'm gonna pull you out of the stream real quick and give it a call. See if it works. The phone number is. It is.
And I'm gonna type it in the chat, maybe.
Yeah. Hold on, they're calling again. Let me see if it works this time around. Hello, thank you for calling the Drunk Turkey Show. You're live on the air. Can you hear us? Oh man, I think we're gonna have we're having some difficulty here. Okay. Let me see. All right, Jaime, can you hear me, Jaime, on the phone? Can you hear anything, Jaime? Well, say something so I can hear you. All right, so it's not coming back this way. All right, we might have to scrap that. You know what we're gonna do? We'll just throw in the StreamYard link. Unfortunately, my setup here is not working. So what we'll do is we'll do the StreamYard link.
Cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Now we can all chat.
Exactly. I'm not sure what the hell is going on there.
And Jaime's got some extra room on his couch so people can chat with him.
All right, so all right, it's pinned in there. If you want to come on, talk with us, talk about the case, talk about anything, you can. You don't have to have your camera on while you're while we're on the live, but I will need your camera on when you come on so that I can see you're not trying to do anything weird. Big Blue gets a lot of weird things. Yeah. We'll leave it at that. So
like Amazon.
Yeah, we don't. It's not that type of show, y'all. Not that type of show.
That's for Friday. And members only too.
members only.
That's members only. Blue did a striptease for everybody.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh man, you're gonna have people canceling the membership. What are you talking about? So
all that while holding a beer and a pizza. Y'all missed out.
Yeah, so you effers are drunk. No, actually, we're not. We're not drinking today.
We'll do that for Friday.
We're actually 100% sober.
Yeah.
She says we could hear her. Could y'all hear her?
I could not.
Nope.
I couldn't either. I couldn't hear anybody. Oh, we apologize. We apologize.
Let's see if anyone goes to the
Yeah,
screen.
yeah. I put it up to the side. We couldn't hear anything on our end. If somebody was calling through, we couldn't hear it at all. And so I'll just have to work on it next time. We'll get it going again, guys. No worries. If y'all have questions, send them if you don't want to come out in the StreamYard, you can send your questions through here, and we'll answer your questions live on air. We'll do a little Q&A since we couldn't do that. We'll be on here for the next 20 minutes or so. You know, it's everybody's talking about the 118 on ebook is interesting. Do you want to read it? Do you want me to read it? I don't think it has anything to do with the case though. That's the problem with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but man, it's up to you. I'm all ears.
Because I mean, thank you so much, Leticia Guerra.
Leticia Guerra.
Yeah.
Hey man, they call me a coconut for a reason. It's for your $10 super sticker. We truly appreciate you. You know what? Let's see if I can find it real quick. Rodger Manifesto.
I'm interested to see what he wrote. You remember he said about the letter he left to his dad, or had for his dad?
What's that?
Remember that Bryan Kohberger left a letter to his dad or something like that?
Yeah.
I wonder what that was. I mean, about.
You know,
it's all grocery list.
Right. It could be anything because there was some weird stuff that was there. There was the hand drawing, and there was the I would come up on panel because I'm a psychology major too. I know a lot about paintings, a lot about a criminal. Come on. We'll just ask you some questions and we'll see how it goes. We're pretty good at just talking back and forth. But 118. Let's. This is I think this is it. Yeah, My Twisted World.
Oh, I could have freaking read it. I already had it on.
Let's see. Let's see. It says, what part should I read? Because I know there was one part about the day of retribution would have to be a normal party weekend. It would be on a normal party weekend. So I set it for sometime in November of 2013. That's the one part that I guess that a lot of folks are pointing at.
We're connecting together, right?
Yeah, that because it was in November or the same day. Talks about how women treat him. You know, I don't know. I don't see it. I mean, the website PU8 hate is very depressing. It shows just how bleak and cruel the world is due to the evilness of women. I tried to show it to my parents to give them some sort of dose of reality as to why I am so miserable. They never understood why I'm so miserable. So I've always had the delusion that everything is going well for me, especially my father. When I sent the link of PU8hate.com to my parents, none of them even bothered to look at the posts that were on there. But Kohberger had parents that cared. You know, his dad flew halfway, across not halfway, he flew across the country to drive back across country for him. Yeah. You know, there was the articles about that came out from Kohberger's mom and the Red Forum. I mean, not the articles, the forum post from Kohberger's mom where she's like concerned about him being so far away, and talks about that he's going to be coming back for Christmas and this, that, and the third, and it really did appear that he had parents that cared for him and if would pay attention to him. What do you guys think?
No, yeah, especially because I remember they were saying that the parents were trying to like get him friends and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So they did care at one point. I mean, if they cared, as a parent, you usually not all parents, right? Obviously, there's some bad people that those are kids out there, but I mean, if you love your child, you're gonna want them, to have friends and be happy.
Yeah. We have a question here asking us if the trial is open, will you attend? Well, that's the goal. That's the goal. You know what I mean? There's possibly two trials that are going to be going on in the same month. You have the Richard Allen case. His got moved to June. And Bryan Kohberger as well. Well, Bryan's is just the preliminary. He hasn't even done his plea, right? He hasn't even pled guilty or not guilty. Mm-hmm. And so his has been super prolonged. And so Yeah, it's being put up there. I'm gonna go through some of these to see if I can find some of these. Read and let's see what it says. Look at that. Let's see. Well, sorry to hear that, Dragon Zone. My parents don't care about me and I don't kill people. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I get it. At the end, he said he settled for November 2013, and Kohberger did this on in November. Let's see. After a spring season spent in absolute despair, while other young people lived healthy lives with sexual pleasure, summer arrived. Summer is even worse than spring, especially in Santa Barbara. Flocks of hot young girls go out in their shorts and bikinis, further tantalizing my sex-starved body every time I look at them. Knowing that they gleefully show off their desirable forms, yet they would never give me a chance to be their boyfriend, only increased my already boiling hatred towards all women. I could not leave my apartment without seeing at least a few of them. The only place I could go where I could be at peace was the lake park in Goleta. I spent a lot of time there trying to establish a sense of peace and serenity, where whenever my loneliness in Isla Vista became too unbearable, as I looked at all the beautiful trees around me and the towering mountains in the background, I wonder how this world so beautiful can be such a dark, cruel place. Indeed, a beautiful environment is the darkest hell. You have to experience it all alone, while other men get to enjoy the company of women. What's up, opinionated idiot? Thank you for jumping in on the live. Says, what's up, boys? DTS Live on my channel Thursday. Yes, we'll be on the Opinionated Idiot Thursday night. Idiot. Yeah, I said that right. Hey, man, I'm bad with names and stuff. We've already gone down that road. We'll be out there Thursday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 Central. Let's go. We'll see y'all there. We'll see you there, buddy. Bounces in with a $10 super sticker. We appreciate it.
Oh yeah, thank you.
And I should be off that day, so I should be drinking.
I don't know if that's a good thing. I'm not sure if that's a good thing.
Yeah, we've seen you drink, man, and some of these people here have too.
Yeah. Well, this idiot has some opinions.
Saber Demore says she's new to our channel and consider if it were secret society hits. What do you think, Jaime?
That's deep, man. That's a Friday conspiracy show.
That is. But little taste. Do you think that this Bryan Kohberger is just a fall guy for some kind of bigger ploy, bigger secret society type of thing?
I don't know, man. I mean, from the beginning, I always had that feeling about, that drugs can be, related to drugs. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So I was hoping like we can get more information about that, but I don't know. I think he had more to do with this case or this crime more than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it had to do anything with like a secret society, at least not right now. From what we know.
Right. Exactly.
Unless the secret society is the college itself.
Yeah, that's possible. And we've talked. And Amber, we see you in the back room there. Give us a thumbs up when you're ready. It's disconnected. Never mind. Anyways, we were talking. What did you say there, Jaime? The last part.
I said unless you think the school itself or the college itself is like they have their own little secret society, because at one point, remember I was telling you like maybe it was just they got this guy to save face at one point, remember? Mm-hmm. And I was like, maybe the college kind of like pressured the police department.
Now,
because that's their main income. I mean, that's what makes the money there.
And we talked about this when we were talking about all the stuff that had happened in Moscow, Idaho, and and I highly recommend go back and check it out. I think that all of it's in the playlist under Idaho 4. I believe it's titled "Let's Talk About Kim," and we were discussing Kim. And what we did was we broke that scenario down as far as what's gone on in Idaho. And in Idaho, in 2011, there was at the University of Idaho, there was a professor there that shot and took the life of one of the students he was having an affair with, or having a maybe not an affair. I'm not sure if he was married, but he was having an inappropriate relationship with. And prior to it happening, the victim and her friends went to the university and they were told that they couldn't do anything about it due to a confidentiality agreement with the staff member, with the professor, and told them to just go to the police. And we see you, Amber. Give us a thumbs up when you're ready to come on. If you want to keep your camera on, you can. If you don't, you're good. We see that you're there. We'll pull you in. Oh man, there it goes.
I see you giving the thumbs up. You're ready.
Hey guys.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. I was, a lot of people in the chat were talking about the picture that they took a picture of, the drawing. I'm a psychology major and a huge Sigmund Freud fan. Sigmund
nice.
Freud drew that picture.
Okay.
If you look at it, there's several ways that you can interpret it. I wouldn't necessarily interpret it in a way that he hated women, because that's not the way that Freud meant it when he drew it. So I'm not really sure what the significance of that was. But another thing I was going to say, and I'm the one who sent the super chat about Ted Bundy, and the reason I ask you about that is because, now, don't get me wrong, I'm not an expert in criminal psychology. I've only taken 2 criminal psychology courses for my psychology degree, because I'm more into being a psychiatrist, not that side of things. But they're classes that you have to take to get your psychiatry degree.
Right.
From the beginning, I've seen a connection between him and Ted Bundy. Maybe it's because it had to do with the colleges, women, whatever. So that's why I said, have you checked into any of the Ted Bundy books? Because I did find one that does have over 118 pages, and there's only one. And it's him being interviewed where he's confessing to the killings at the very end before he's executed.
Jaime, are you aware of that?
Yeah, he confessed, and he also blamed he pretty much blamed porn. That's what he did.
Oh no.
Yeah, okay, so he blamed porn, and then you got that picture that Sigmund Freud drew of a man with a naked lady on his face.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just connect the two, I mean, I don't know, just for some reason, and I get the whole Elliot Rodger thing and the Pappa Rodger thing and all that, but from the beginning, I have just gotten nothing but Ted Bundy vibes from this guy, and I don't like saying his name because I don't think he deserves recognition.
Yeah. Understood. So you said you took a couple of classes that were criminal justice related. When you were in those type of courses, do you find, let's take the incident out of it. Do you find the books, the survey that he was doing out of character for a student in that criteria or following in those studies?
Some of the questions, no. I think some of the questions were normal, but some of the questions were taken too far, yes. And I think that should have been a red flag for DeSales University.
Got you.
But in that line of work, you do want to know how a criminal mind works.
Right. And so there was that question that came to my mind is that aspect. Let me see.
But that's more of a psychology thing on how the mind works. You see what I'm saying? And to ask those questions in a criminal justice class instead of a criminal psychology class, I would say that would throw up a red flag.
Right. Even though he was a PhD major in criminal justice psychology, see, I thought that the stuff that he would have had would have been somewhat common. I would assume for his degree, but if you're saying that some of those questions were, a little bit getting a little too close, then that does bring up a red flag for us. And
the questions I'm talking about, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I have you guys turned down. The questions I'm talking about is where he gets into how did you feel after you did it? That's not relevant to catching a criminal in my mind.
Well,
he
maybe
wants to know. That question is telling me he wants to know what it feels like to kill somebody or to unalive someone. That takes it a little bit too far for me in that aspect.
Right. No, and I can understand that. I can definitely understand that. Just thinking like devil's advocate, though, like if I was his defense attorney or whatnot, I would say that knowing how a person feels after the commission of the crime might give an indication of what somebody could do after the crime, which, could give a starting point for a starting place to look, right? As far as like, all right, we're coming into a new age, right? Where computers and communication through social media and through different apps is changing things. If we were talking about something in, somebody in the early 2000s, 1990s, you're looking at certain, criteria. You're looking at somebody who maybe did something to animals, was a fire starter, things like that. Well, things have changed a little bit. Now you have video games, you have virtual reality, you have social media, you have Reddit forums and groups where people can get together and have same ideas and talk and things like that. And so because of that influx or that the constant change of change, I would say that looking at how somebody would feel afterwards could point in the direction of where to start looking for somebody that.
And you make a great point there. I have to agree with you on that. You are making a great point there. That's why I said me being a psychology major or psychiatry major, I didn't necessarily look at it that way. And somebody in the chat is saying I'm on Adderall. I actually take the opposite. I actually take Xanax for nerves. So there, if you want to know what I take, it's Xanax, not Adderall. Anyway,
some people can just be
I just, you made a great point there saying that would be a great place to start.
Here's a quick question. Do you think that could be one of the reasons why they started talking to him and ended up firing him at his position because they thought he was going too out of their range of, I guess, where the studies should be? Do you think the teacher wasn't agreeing with his method, and they started getting into it?
Yeah, that may have had a lot to do with it. From what I understand, and now I'm going to be honest with you, you can't tell what's real and what's fake out there news-wise. I mean, some people are saying that, so-and-so had these letters, and that's not what they really say. But going back to your question, I think that he viewed himself as a god, and he thought that he was better than everybody else, even the teachers. And I think that's why he got into arguments with the teachers and things like that, because he thought he knew everything, including how to commit the perfect crime.
Right. Exactly. And I find that to be true, and a lot of folks have said that about Bryan, that he had this, I'm smarter than you attitude, narcissistic attitude about things, and he ended up getting kicked out. The fact that he got kicked out of his being a teacher's assistant so soon, his first initial incident that had occurred was in September with his professor. School started in late August, so
right, that was very soon.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think many people hear that type of stuff. I'm sure that those started to create some red flags.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure if you're aware of this or would know this or not, but there's been questions about an informant or about somebody that they're wanting to talk about or a co-defendant, right? And there was some language in there that said that it could be somebody that they don't want to bring on the stand, right? Due to, I don't know, maybe some sort of confidentiality stuff. Could that person be a professor or somebody at the school?
It could be. It could very well be, because in fact, if it is a professor that he has gotten into it with for their protection, they would not give out that name or any information, because you got to remember, there was a professor killed in Pennsylvania where he lives, and that murder's still not solved.
Oh, interesting. That's true. Yeah, and like yeah, because what I was thinking is maybe perhaps the police went to the school, to the university, but due to some maybe confidentiality, something that they have going on there, maybe there was something that they couldn't have said or weren't allowed to have said, but kind of maybe had said, like, hey, you might want to look in this direction. This guy's got some red flags, and maybe tipped off the police in that direction early on. But that was just something maybe I thought maybe you may know, being a student in universities.
I'm working, and a lot of people in the chat are questioning what I know about psychology and psychiatry. What I do know is you have to get your psychology degree before you can get your psychiatry degree. Your psychiatry is your PhD. Your psychology, you can only go so far with psychology. After that, you have to get your PhD in psychiatry and become a psychiatrist to prescribe medicines and things like that.
Right.
I'm not
and
trying to get up here and give any inaccurate information.
That's don't worry about that. Some folks, they just like everything has to come with a question. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And sometimes there's no need for that.
I get that.
Yeah, sometimes there's no need for.
Well, I understand. I just wanted to explain that I have to work on my psychology degree before I can get my psychiatry degree.
Right. Let's see something real quick.
The thing about this case with the Idaho case is that the crime itself, it has some similarities to Ted Bundy. It has similarities to BTK. It has similarities to Elliot Rodger, like news we were talking about. And the thing is that you can pretty much connect a lot of other serial killers to this kind of case too. And that's the thing about it. When it comes down to Ted Bundy, he killed women, right? Sorority. BTK first kills were 4 people, a family, right? So there's different. You can pretty much pin almost any other serial killer to this one, including being narcissistic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you this. My son was diagnosed at 14 years old with NPD, narcissistic personality disorder. He is currently on meds for it and managing it well with medication and therapy. So it is something that can be managed with medication and therapy. However, in cases where you don't have medication or therapy, it can go this far. And like you were saying, you've got BTK, he killed families. You got Ted Bundy, he killed women. You've got Charles Manson and his cult and what they did. It's even came to my mind, has he studied all these people and is trying to take a piece from each serial killer and put it in his, in his way of killing.
Right.
So that was kind of what I was thinking. Like I said, I've led more towards Ted Bundy because of the location and what happened. But you make a good point there. He could be taking notes from every serial killer out there. We don't know.
Yeah, true. I mean, we can even connect him to Richard Ramirez too, right? He in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of little things you can take and actually pin it to another serial killer. So, to me, the most similarity is going to be probably between BTK and Ted Bundy also.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I was thinking. And I really thought you guys had it when y'all was talking about the manifesto. The only thing is, like you said, it's a PDF format. It's not a book.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of connections there. And I was like, they're really on to something. But I can't find a book about it. As far as I know, it's just a PDF document.
Yeah.
So, but I really thought you guys were onto something there, and I was like, well, I've been totally wrong this whole time, and maybe he is an incel. But I'd heard somewhere that he had a girlfriend that had overdosed on heroin.
Yeah, we read that too. He had a girlfriend who, it's speculative that it was his girlfriend. They also said that she was a lesbian as well, and so
right.
Who knows at this point? It's hard to tell.
It is hard to tell. It is, and even I've been studying psychology for years now because it takes forever to get your doctorate. But even if I hadn't studied a bit of psychology, I would sit here and tell you this is going to be complicated no matter what.
Yeah, 100%.
Because what we know so far, do we really have a motive? Do we really have, everything that the prosecution needs? I don't know, because there's a gag order. They're keeping everything from us.
Right. Yeah, that's going to be that's the one thing that's the we don't know everything. There's it's almost guaranteed that they got some stuff on there that we don't know, and maybe some even stronger evidence.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure of it.
The Murdaugh case is.
I'm pretty sure
is
of
an
it.
example of it. Nobody knew about the Snapchat video until it came to life, things like that. So
Right.
there could be some of those type of things. I'm gonna bring on our next guest. But before I'm going to introduce you. This is the Opinionated Idiot. We're actually going to be coming on his show.
I actually watched his show earlier. He's amazing.
Good stuff. But before we get into anything else, I do want to answer this $5 super chat that I've had on here. Sarah Davis says, "Do you think his dad knew what he did before they got to PA?" My thoughts are no. I don't think he said anything about that to anybody. We'll do a little round table real quick. Blue, Jaime, and then I'll ask Amber and Opinionated. But first, Blue, do you think Bryan Kohberger's dad knew by the time they got to Pennsylvania?
I would think no, because he didn't look for a lawyer right away. They would have lawyered up right away.
Okay, what about you, Jaime?
No, he didn't. They had that plan a while before. I don't think he knew anything about it. If he's the guy, if Bryan is the guy, but I don't think he knew about it.
Yeah. What about you, Opinionated?
My name's
apologize
Bryan.
about the name.
My name's Bryan.
I don't want
You
to
can
say
call me
Opinionated so much.
No, you can call me Bryan. I'm
All right,
Bryan.
Bryan. Hey, man. Hey, I might call you something else, man. I
It's okay.
called Kim Pam for like like 2 weeks, man. And I started a big old like conspiracy on that. So if I call you something else, you might get a conspiracy out of it. Who knows?
It's all good. It's all good.
What do you think, Brian?
Okay, you want me to throw a monkey wrench into the works here?
Do it.
Let's hear it.
Okay, I think it was a long ride back. You know, I have to say that. You got a father and son together. I thought that I don't know if he flat out and came and told his dad, you know, allegedly.
Right.
Maybe he, you know, hey dad, you know, I got something going on, you know, maybe kind of that conversation, because I find it very weird that when you go back to the two videos of when they were pulled over, I can't remember, it was either the first or second one, when his dad right away started deflecting to, hey, did you see what happened at WSU? You know, we just left and there was a shooter. It's just really interesting. So, you know, that's kind of the $1 million question. Did the father know, you know, before they got back to PA? So that's how I've kind of always looked at it.
Interesting. What about you, Amber? Do you think that the father knew?
No, I don't think he knew, and I'll tell you why. When they got pulled over, the first thing Bryan said is, we're just going up here to this Thai restaurant. And his dad totally interrupted and was like, no, we're coming from WSU, and just started spilling his guts. And Bryan's looking at him like, Dad, what are you doing? And that would lead me to believe that he's like, oh my God, my dad's giving too much information. I'm going to get caught right here and right now.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, I don't think, thank you, Miss Q, or Missy Q, I'm sorry. I don't think he told his dad on the trip. They may have, I don't doubt that the conversation came up about the incident, just because it's a few days travel, you know, to go all the way from Moscow to Pennsylvania, and from Moscow, Idaho to Pennsylvania. And so I think it probably did come up. I don't think he said anything about it. But it's possible. I mean, it sure is possible. That's a long drive. You could definitely tell that the dad was nervous about it. It's definitely possible. Do you guys, and I'll ask you, Brian, do you think that, what are your thoughts on the case so far, as do you think Brian acted alone? Do you think there was somebody else involved, or do you think that Brian wasn't involved? They got the wrong guy.
Sure. So I think the evidence is very, very strong against Bryan Kohberger. I mean, I've kind of been saying that all along. And I have on my channel, I have a lot of people that are either divided to say that he's innocent or he's guilty. And that's what I love about these conversations, that we can throw a lot of theories and opinions out there, and we can squash, you know, talk about all the conspiracy theories and stuff like that. But I think right now, the evidence, you know, that piece, the probable cause affidavit was probably one of the most detailed probable cause affidavits that I've ever seen read through my entire life. And when I looked at all of that, I said, wow, this is going to be, they have a lot of stuff on this guy. And the thing that's very interesting, and what I want people to look at is, you know, we talk about, there's been a lot of the speculation about the cell phone data and the locations of the cell phone data. If you go back to the Murdaugh trial, and they literally narrowed it down by feet and inches. I don't know what program they actually run all the data through, but I'm like, you're going to see a lot of that in this case as well. I just think, and now you look at the search warrant of all the items, the other items that have been, you know, taken from, you know, one, Kohberger's apartment, two, from his parents' house. And, you know, the thing is that everybody's saying right now, like, oh, you know, he can't be, it can wait until they process this evidence. Wait, and, you know, they're going to process that. The vehicle is going to be torn apart, and they're going to scrub every, you know, inch of that white Hyundai Elantra down. I mean, and the thing is there's any bit of that DNA from any of those victims in that car, it's game over. I mean,
right.
So for me, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but for me, I feel like the evidence is very strong against Kohberger. But I always say this as well too: any person that is a suspect before they go to trial is always, you know, due to a fair trial.
Right.
and they're always presumed, innocent until found guilty in a court of law. So that's kind of where I stand on it.
Yeah.
Would your opinion change if there's no blood found in the car?
No, because that trace DNA at the sheath, it's just that's hard to explain. That's going to be very hard. I think people are going to be very, very. I wouldn't say I may be surprised, but I think there's so much more that we don't know to this that's being hidden, and that's why I think. That's why I think the gag order came up again to what was it, 30 news outlets the other day tried to petition to get the gag order put down, and they're not going to allow it. There's a lot of there's a lot going on that we don't know.
Yeah.
Thank you, oh man, Ina
Shu.
Ina Shu.
Sorry if I tore that up. I apologize, but thank you for becoming a member. I've seen you in the live chat quite a bit. We appreciate your continued support. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, you guys, I'm going to jump off here. I got 2 kids to get ready for bed for school tomorrow. I'm going to let you talk to this wonderful gentleman here. I watched your show earlier. Dude, you amazed me with your show. I'm just going to tell you that.
I appreciate it.
Huge fan of the Drunk Turkey Show as well. You guys are amazing. Thanks for letting me up here and sharing what I know. And I will continue to be watching while I get my kids ready for bed. I appreciate you guys so much.
Thank you.
Amber.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Have a good night, Amber. Thank you for coming on.
They abbreviated for Inanna.
The what?
What's that, Blue?
They abbreviated the name of the new member, Inanna.
Oh, Inanna. Okay.
Daniel, I have a question for you guys if you guys haven't discussed it yet. But
go for it,
I go back to the 2 notes that were found that were confiscated at Bryan's parents' house. And I'm sure I don't know if you guys talked about this. I kind of came in your show midway this evening. So you have the one note that was seized that was from Bryan to his father. And then there's the other one that I haven't heard anybody talk about, but Bryan to someone maybe named Montana. Have you guys talked about that?
We haven't talked about that tonight. We did talk about that the other day. Let me pull that up real quick.
Sure.
I think I have, and we'll address it again. No big deal. Let's see.
What's it called? Was it Bryan? Right?
Yeah, Bryan. Yeah.
I like your beard, man. It's nice.
I'm about 8 months. I'm trying to do a full year. So
nice.
Nice.
You know what? I got it.
I trimmed mine last week, so I'm a failure. Nah, the mask don't fit. When I put the N95s,
oh yeah,
right.
yeah, they get in the way.
I have to use them at work still.
Sure.
But what's it called when it comes down to the gag order? Isn't that requested for by the defense or by the prosecutor?
That was the judge.
That was the judge that just put a general gag order. Yeah.
But the defense has come forward asking to be stricter. Yeah, because there's a lot of information that's coming out. And basically the reason why the defense doesn't want it to come out, more information to come out is just because they don't want to taint anything.
Yeah.
And they don't want a jury pool to come into the case already with an opinion about the case. As far as what's the word I'm looking for? As far as there it is. All right. Oh man, I don't think you guys can read that. But as far as the like for instance, if you get a jury that comes in that thinks that Bryan's guilty from the word jump before the court even starts, then it's an uphill climb. You want to get people who know as little as possible. And at the same time, I think that what the Kohberger defense team is wanting is basically people to stop talking about it as much. You know what I mean? For people to forget. And I don't think that's going to happen. I think this case is way too big.
One of the things on their checklist is, are y'all drunk turkey fans? If you say yes, you're not going to be on the trial, guys. We talk about it way too much.
Yeah. If you ever listen to the Drunk Turkey Show, you answer yes, you're not getting it. You're not going to be a jury. Thank you so much, Sarah Davis, for the $1 super chat. We appreciate you.
Before we start, guys, in a little bit, I'm going to jump off. I got to work again tonight. Got to pay the bills.
Sure.
Yeah.
No problem, no problem. So you said so there was a note from Bryan from Montana, and so that's what I had thought it had said. I know it's kind of hard to read, but when was he in Montana?
Well, I think maybe there was I'm sorry to jump in, but I think maybe there was a wrong, maybe in the transcription of when the person was writing the notes on the search warrant, maybe they meant to put from Bryan to Montana. It just sounds weird, like from Bryan from Montana.
Well, it could have been a note from Bryan to maybe one of his parents while he was in Montana.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough.
Or to Hannah Montana.
Hannah Montana.
I agree with Bryan.
I
agree with Bryan. I think at the end, when the trial starts and we get to like listen to all the evidence and everything, I know it's gonna be a lot of surprises. It's gonna be so in depth. It's not gonna be funny, man. I think we just got the tip of the iceberg here.
I have a question, guys. Why do you think that in all of the documents that we've seen so far that they continue to redact the two roommates' names? We all know who they are. We all know it's public, but they continue to redact their names. Do you think that it's because to protect them, or could they be involved?
I think it's more to show the court that they're doing everything in their power to continue to, even if that information has been put out, that they're not going to put out any more information and continue to try to gag as much as they can, so to speak. If they start just throwing the names, or as things come out and they just start putting pieces out there, then I think that would violate not just the gag order, but also it's a slippery slope. So once things start coming out, if they allow it, and even if I don't even think they can, even if it's out there, say that, what's the word? They have to deny or confirm nor deny type of questions. So I have the actual thing. So I'm going to try to find it. It says note to dad from Bryan. So there's more than one note in here. It's once to his dad from Bryan. Documents, medical documents.
I'm gonna say one thing, man. Whoever wrote this, God damn.
Yeah, man.
I just think it's crazy that the first thing on there is like knife.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you think that that's something very important.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think it's the actual knife that was used.
Sure.
I think it could be a knife that's similar, though. And it would show that he has knives of the same type of knife that was used at to accessibility to it. Let's see.
You don't think they will put the brand on there?
They should, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
And the reason you want to put the brand on there is, like, for instance, well, no, actually you don't. You don't. You want to be descriptive about it, about what you're putting in as a receipt. But the reason being is, for instance, let's just say it was a fake Gucci purse, right? You go and you confiscate a fake Gucci purse. You put in the evidence receipt that you confiscated a Gucci purse. And then when you have to give it back, that person can then turn around and say, hey, I gave you a real Gucci purse. This evidence receipt says you confiscated a Gucci purse. You gave me this, now you can start some drama there. So, from when I was in law enforcement, we were told not to put like name brands in case it was fake. But every department's different and things like that.
Yeah.
But you would describe it. You would say something to the effect like 7-inch knife, fixed blade knife with a guard, brown in color, with the insignia of this on it.
What's it called? But like even with the weapons, Smith and Wesson, all that stuff, it was on there.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, you're absolutely right, and that's something that does seem kind of odd because it's something that's out of character from what they're putting on here. Like they got the serial numbers. They have, for instance, they have a Glock 22 Gen 5. I mean, it's pretty descriptive there.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the Smith & Wesson pocket knife. They have a culinary knife with a sheath somewhere in here as well. And so, that is pretty odd that they're very vague on it. Do you think that if it was the actual knife that was used during the commission of the crime, that I think that information would have came out? I think that there's no way they couldn't keep the fact that somebody saw someone in the house silent. You know, not everybody knew, but everybody had heard the rumors before, you know, Dylan's, the probable cause affidavit came out. There was rumors for a long time that one of the surviving victims had seen somebody in the house.
Yeah. What's it called? If we didn't have social media, that would have stayed a secret.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That would have stayed something very close net. Nobody would have known anything about it. Oh,
and that's the thing. And that's the thing now too. I'm sorry to cut you off, Daniel. That's the thing now is that, you know, with social media, so much information travels lightning fast, you know, and I think that's why these lawyers and judges get out right away. They gag order everything now. So cases can't be discussed, information, you know, but your mainstream media is going to go in and they're going to dig as much, even if, you know, they might be throwing a little money here and there. Can I get some kind of story out of you? You know, they're going to dig and try to keep them as relevant in the media as well, too, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and not only that, but like also like social media, it's like I was telling Danny, it's like a fish story, you know what I mean?
Right.
By the end of the story, the fish is like 4 feet long and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. It's like playing telephone.
Yeah.
You know, you say one thing at this end, and then, you know, you say, you know, yellow banana over here. It's like orange pumpkin. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's hard to like separate what's real, what's not, and what could be, you know?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you, Jane C, for becoming the newest member. We appreciate your support. Thank you so much. I noticed here it says number 15 was just books. Doesn't even say how many books, just books.
Yeah.
So yeah, this thing is super inconsistent, man. Super inconsistent.
You think it's maybe a timing thing because they're just collecting so fast, and maybe they have a certain time and they're just running things down now?
Yeah, it shouldn't be, because this is a high profile case, man.
Yeah, it's true.
Not even that. This evidence receipt right here. You don't need to have it signed. Well, this is signed by Michael F. Kohberger. So this is by the dad, right? And so the dad signed off on this. So maybe, I mean, I would think that they would have told the guy, like, yo, you're gonna wait until we're done processing this. And, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, they had Michael Kohberger sign off on all this.
And I think, though, there's one document, I forget what one it is. Maybe it was the one before this is where we actually saw Bryan's signature for the first time. It could have been on this one. I'm not sure. I can't remember. Might be way at the top.
Page 4. No, it's not.
No, I know it's on there somewhere because I remember looking there. I was like, oh wow, there's his signature.
Interesting. That'd be. I'd like to see his handwriting,
because it wasn't on the search warrant of his apartment out at WSU. It was on one of these. Try scrolling down. I know it is because I saw it and I was like, whoa. I know I'm not crazy.
I think it's also on the. I have to go look for it, but I'm pretty sure we have it as well. But it's on the citation.
His handwriting is very scribbly. It's very like 5th grade-ish. Not that mine's any good, but
I think it was Michael J. Fox who was writing that shit.
Yeah,
yeah, man. The handwriting on this received property is
now this is gonna bug me. Let me see if I can find it in my documents.
Yeah, I remember there was like something curls and there was cards and I don't know, man. Remember that?
Yeah.
The one with about his car, I believe.
What about it?
Like they were saying something about like we couldn't tell if it was curls or cards or
curls.
Oh yeah, the ID cards.
Yeah, and all that stuff. I was like, what the hell's like? And that's why, like, I think I sent you the they checked it out.
Yeah, it's and that's what I was looking at here, but it's too small. I mean, I can see it on my screen, of course.
Yeah.
But on y'all's, it would be pretty small. Gloves, motherboard, Washington State University paperwork, note from Bryan from Montana, medical documents, court documents, note to dad from Bryan. And so, there's the two notes that he had written. I would assume both of them are to dad, so this might be some kind of sentimental type of thing. But yeah, he had supposedly like 10 ID cards in a glove in something. And I don't know, might be some kind of sentimental thing as well. Maybe his, university ID cards, his school ID card, his work card, things of that nature. Those things can add up.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Cynthia Gaines, for your $5 super sticker. We appreciate you.
I'm really interested to find out more about Bryan's upbringing, I guess you could say. I want, because like if he's guilty of this, if he's the one who did it, and he was trying to imitate someone else, then he's probably had some tendencies in his past.
Right.
I pulled it up, Daniel. If you want to, I presented my screen. I have it, the document. There you go. It's right there.
Oh, gotcha. Huh.
It was on the extradition waiver.
Yeah, there it is. Huh.
It's right here.
That does look like a little kid wrote it.
You can see.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. We need to go and talk to from
handwriting expert.
Yeah, from a criming shame. We've had criming shame on the show, and they have a handwriting expert.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I'd love to see that
on their panel. And so when we get them back on, we'll talk about that. Yeah, man. Things of that nature. Drink. Yeah, that's one thing that I talk about quite a bit. I feel that there's a lot of evidence here, but I do think that there's
flimsy.
I don't think there's anything like concrete. I'll leave it at that. There's just a lot of like little things. But don't get me wrong, I think they got the right guy. When you look at the case in its total, where the prosecution's going to want you to look at it, they're going to want you to say, all right, this guy had the black gloves, he had the eyebrows, the height, the weight, the car without the front license plate, the phone was off during the time of the commission of the crime. He was out and about during that time. He's seen before and after on video. You have the DNA on the sheet. You have all these things, and in total, when you put everything together, it looks like it's pointing in one direction. The defense is going to go in there and try to pick all that apart. They're going to talk about the conditions of the apartment when Dylan saw the person, as far as how lit the area was or not lit it was, the quality of the footage of the vehicle, the accuracy of the pings. I mean, there's going to be all those things that are going to be attacked one piece at a time. Do you think that, and we'll start off with you, Jaime, do you think that if they don't find the knife, that is going to be it's a huge win for the defense?
Yeah, I do. It would be a win for them, but they still have to explain all the digital footprint.
Right.
You think, you can even commit without a body, right? So,
right. Well, let me ask this question instead. Do you think that? Well, what is the most important piece of evidence in this case? Do you think that they can be found?
They can be found. I think the DNA on the sheath. That's gonna be it.
Yeah. Right.
If it doesn't come back to him, then Oh man.
See, for me, the DNA on the sheath is it's a big piece. I'm not going to deny it. But if it's just touch DNA, then I'm not saying that it can be easily explained, but there could be explanation for it. Maybe it just says that he handled it at one point. And it also depends on what type. And you know, based on the airmail article, it said that it was just one speck of DNA on the button sheath. And so, I mean, that's all you need. But to me, the DNA that's more important is in the car, is if there's any of the victim's DNA in the car. If there's none, I think this is going to be a very difficult case to prove without reasonable doubt.
Yep.
And if there's not, and if there is, I think it's going to be very difficult the other way around to prove or to get out of it. You know, you know, and or if there's any evidence of DNA, you know, I know they collected a couple of strands of hair and even a dog's hair at his apartment. If any of those come back to the victim, he's done. It's over. There's nothing else you can say about it. But if he doesn't, then there's the question, like, how does somebody commit a crime like this, immediately jump in their car and not have any DNA in it?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I mean, it's dumb to use your own car, first of all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, there's that. But, like, yeah, exactly. Like, from what they told us about the scene there at the resident, it was real bloody. It was, I mean, you can do a lot of damage with a knife, and then you can get it all over yourself too, all that blood. You know,
right.
It's not as clean as you know, using the weapon, you know, a firearm. You know,
to a certain extent.
Well, I mean, if you're super close,
right. Like as far as the splatter or coming back at you, yeah. You're absolutely right in that aspect. With the knife thing, especially depending on where somebody's hitting, for the amount of blood that is being described, you would assume some arteries were, you know, if they were alive when those things were hit, blood's going to be pumping. That gushes out, that goes everywhere, and that's going to get on the person that's closest to them, you know, the surrounding area, the whole 9 yards. And so, to me, I just find it almost impossible for there not to be DNA in that car. You know, it, by the sounds of it, and from from the evidence, is he was in there very quickly and out of there very quickly. You're looking at approximately, people are saying, at the longest 9 minutes. You know, I think that's enough time to go in there and commit the crime, but I don't think that's enough time to go in there, commit the crime, and clean yourself up at the same time. You get what I'm saying? So, you know, unless he had something with him that.
And you have to look at it too. I mean, when he got to PA, I mean, he was seen feverishly scrubbing that car down. So why would you be doing that at 2-3 o'clock in the morning? The FBI observed him.
Right.
You know,
I wonder if that was like if his dad even questioned it about it. You know what I mean? Because he did it at his parents' home, right?
Right. Yeah.
No, or maybe like we were talking about it last time, that maybe he has was it OCD?
Yeah.
Maybe it's something that's not out of the normal for him to do that. But it's pretty. You know, if you see it now, you're like, okay, now that you put your eyes to that certain person, then you're gonna start seeing this little like discrepancies. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he's cleaning his car at 2 a.m. Maybe he did it before. He used to do it before.
Right.
You know, but now it's like, it's not, now you're pointing at it because he's like suspect. You know.
Man, I don't know about that, dude. Doing that at 2 a.m. in December in Pennsylvania.
Right. Yeah, you never know.
That shit's cold, man.
It's cold.
That shit. You know, I was
50's cold for here for Texas. So.
Yeah,
I'm in the Northeast, man. It's cold.
Yeah, I was gonna say, dude, I went to Pittsburgh for at the beginning of January. It was only 30 something degrees, but for me, it was shit. It was freezing. You know, and that week it was like 70 degrees up here in Texas, down here in Texas. So Yeah, I'm gonna look for some pictures of Bryan, but I could have sworn like the ones that I have seen of him, especially and his jumpsuit, his hands are super red, and
Yeah.
to me, it seems like from overwashing, and so you know, could he be one of those OCD guys, one of those clean freaks, possibly? Um, and just that I don't know if that would fall under the MO if somebody's that like anal about being clean and stuff to commit a crime this bloody.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't jive with me, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Like when you said about the DNA evidence being in his car, I mean, shit, we're missing DNA inside, like all the tracks inside the house. From what we know, we only know about one footprint, one good footprint.
Right, and that footprint wasn't even seen until the second time with the amino black had to bring it up. 100%, 100%. Yeah. You definitely can do that.
Okay,
Bryan.
so let me ask you this. So you talked about if he's not the person that did this, how does that sheath get in the house with his DNA? So there's got to be some connection. Then he's obviously been there before, a party or hung out. How do they explain that? That's what I'm saying. If everybody has said, and even DM has said, I've never seen this person before, I never really noticed them before. Even the families of the victims have said that they've never seen this guy before. How did they explain that he's been at that house then?
Yeah. Especially because he's a lot older too.
Right.
I mean,
do you think he maybe is snuck in the house before? I don't know. That's the thing that doesn't sit well with me. How did his DNA get in that house if he's never been in there before? Especially on a knife sheath.
If the knife sheath was, it depends. There's a couple of different ways. He could say that he's gone to a couple of different stores and handled them in the store, and maybe somebody else bought it after him. He can say that because he's in criminal justice, teacher's assistant, that he has shown several knives, and that maybe one of the knives that he's handled in his classroom was that one from being confiscated from somebody at school or something of that nature. But there would be a paper trail for those things, except for the handling something at Walmart or whatever. It's a great question. How does he explain it? He can even say something to the effect that it was his and it was stolen. And, those are the common ones.
Right.
Does it mean that, does it sound plausible? Like, hey, the knife that you stole, that was stolen from you just so happens to be found. The sheath happens to be found in a quadruple homicide case inside the building. It's kind of suspect. I'll tell you this, when I was in law enforcement, we would get into these high-speed chases with people, right? Whether it was somebody did, I remember one of them was because these people were drunk and they went and did a beer run. Another one was these folks were transporting narcotics in a car and it got busted. And the owner of the car, once he found out that it got busted, he called and reported it stolen. A lot of people do that. They're like, if something goes down in that way, and let's just say they were lending their car to somebody to go do a drug run, which is pretty common. That happens quite a bit. They'll put their car somewhere, they'll get it loaded up, and then they'll come back to it, or they'll lend their car out for X amount of money.
Right.
So that is a different type of car that's being traveled down the road. And I remember one time that was the situation, was somebody borrowed someone's car. The person who lent the car was fully aware of what they were doing with it. And they ended up getting in a high-speed chase, and the vehicle ended up crashing. They arrested the driver of the vehicle, and I think it was like 20 minutes, 30 minutes later, we got a call that the car was reported stolen. and we're like, oh, come on. Now it gets reported stolen after. Like, what are what is the likelihood?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But those are some things that do commonly come up and are said and are used as a defense because, even though somebody is saying that and to you and I and to most people that are reasonable would think that that's just BS because of the timing. Is there a possibility that it could have occurred that somebody stole a vehicle and then filled it up with drugs and drove it somewhere and you just so happen to notice it immediately after they got busted? Yeah, it's possible. Yeah. Plausible, maybe not so much, but possibility is there. Mm-hmm. And so you got to take things with what you can prove. That's the saying from Training Day. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. You get what I'm saying? And so, what we can prove is there is DNA on that sheath inside the house, and that's going to be up to Bryan. Their team is going to have to figure out a way to defend that. Mm-hmm. I don't think they can just kind of like say okay and not talk about it, and it just nothing happened to it. You know what I'm saying? The only other thing is maybe perhaps, but then it's not so much proving he's innocent. It's just finding loopholes to so that he's not found guilty is if they try to get the DNA thrown out. And the reason being is if they I don't know Pennsylvania laws about trash and taking trash out of there, things like that. So if there's some kind of weird law about you have to ask for permission about the trash, then that DNA
get thrown out.
That could be thrown out. But that doesn't prove he's innocent. That's just a loophole,
right,
to not have him found guilty, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And so, wait, you want to go to jail or you want to go home?
Yeah, that's a great line.
That is a great line. But in that movie, it's true. It's not what you know. There's a lot of times that police officers and law enforcement agencies know a lot of things, but it comes down to what they can prove and prove without a reasonable doubt. I mean, if there's question about certain thing, you only get one shot at it.
Yeah.
If they get found not, if they get found not guilty because you didn't find all the evidence that was out there and that evidence comes forward later, it's not like you can try them again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we've definitely gone way over our usual. Bryan, if you want to put in into the live chat your link so that way everybody can go out to the YouTube show channel, The Opinionated Idiot, and give him a follow and subscribe. Let him know that we sent you there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I put the I'm sorry to cut you off. I put the link to our show on Thursday night. I'm going to have these guys over on my channel on Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to do Bryan Kohberger, and we'll get into it over there. I got a lot of questions for these guys, so
nice. We know the case pretty well, and so I have questions about this case that I don't know the answer to, and that's one thing that I don't like is I want to look at a case and if there's a question, it bugs me until I get an answer. Jaime, do you have any final words for everybody before we get out?
What's it called? Everything that was in inventory, they took an inventory. The defense is gonna have to come up with an excuse for it. You know what I mean? An alibi for it or something. So it's gonna be a long trial.
Well, I mean, maybe. I don't think everything's going to be entered into evidence that they got. Like, for instance, probably like his clothes. If there's like nothing on there, the clothes that he was wearing that was on his person that day, that's not going to show up. The documents, his health cards, his registration, his medical insurance card, those things won't show up. And so, but I do think that there's going to be a lot of it that he is going to have to go through. I mean, they've already. They showed it up. I think it was like almost 1,100 photographs, 900 and something pages of documents. So there's quite a bit. Tomorrow, y'all, I think around 11 a.m. Central, 12 p.m. Eastern, myself and Big Blue will be going live. We're going to be doing our early show. Jaime has to work, so unfortunately, Jaime won't be there. He will probably be in the live chat, so keep an eye out for him there. We'll be doing we're going to be trying something different. We're going to do a live during the day on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and you don't want to miss it. So, but
what's it called?
Go ahead.
Hey, check your private chat.
Ooh. All right.
So the link didn't work because I don't think I'm a moderator. So if you want to post the link to that show for Thursday, the hyperlink will show up. People can just click right into it, set the reminder.
I put it in there. Let me know if it came out.
It worked. Yep. Awesome.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So that's going to be the show. We're going to be coming out on Thursday. I think probably tomorrow. I'll share the link also on our community page. That way people can find it as well.
Cool.
Don't want to miss it, guys. We're going to be talking about Idaho. We're going to talk about, really deep dive into it. It's been a while since we've dived deep into everything. And so you don't want to miss that. But we'll be here tomorrow. Hit that like and subscribe. Ring that notification bell. You know what to do, y'all. That's it.